Good morning, folks. As you can see, I shaved on the weekend and then went outside and spent a lot of time in the sun doing some lawn work. Uh, and, of course, nicked myself before I went out. And, well, that's psoriasis. But, yeah, the day was good. I touched much grass, mostly because I had to throw it in the garbage. Um, um, the podcast of the Lotus Eaters did a great segment on female beauty. And I discovered who Sam Hyde is. If you don't know who Sam Hyde is, well, yeah. Yeah, I'll just leave that alone altogether. Uh, but more than anything else, there were some bad parts of the weekend. Most notably for me, my friend, the Carnal Conservative, had his channel completely nuked. So from this point on, we will be doing all of our streaming, or he rather will be doing all of his streaming from the Shades of Dominion channel. There is going to be a link in the description to the stream we did last night where we briefly touched on the whole YouTube stuff. He said he might delete the stream, so it may not be there. The link still seems to be active, though. Sorry, just looking at a piece of wood over there. For those of you who remember, and actually I'll reach over and grab that. Those of you who remember the third attempt I made at the flute, and I will be making a hiking stream, probably looking at tomorrow. The weather is nice today, but unfortunately I have bad knees, and I spent a lot of time pushing a very heavy lawnmower up and down a hill yesterday, so I'm not in condition to go and hike around another hill today. But the third flute failed for the same reasons. I suspect the biggest problem is that I'm working with green wood. Oh, and also my Rumble link will be changing. I was still using an old one, and I will be correcting that as well after I finish this video. But in any event, after my flute failed, exploded, essentially, my third attempt, not my last. I was sitting on Discord and basically doing the same thing I'm doing now, just sitting and talking. But I'm the sort of person who loves to have something to do with my hands. So I picked up the remains of the flute and started carving. And the topic of Blade came up. And I pointed out how back in the 70s, when he was first created, Blade walked around with a couple of belts of wooden daggers. Stakes, basically. Now, his were made of teak, and all I had to hand was a piece of juniper. However, I think what I did came out pretty good. And I do like that burned, sanded effect. So, yeah. That's hard as a rock now. And I'm thinking, it is, to be fair, vaguely horn-shaped. But I'm thinking I may recreate one of those old Victorian vampire hunter cases, where you have holy water, all the accoutrement of a vampire hunter. So I have another piece of juniper that wouldn't have been good for the flute idea because it has a substantial bend in it, but I can make a second version of that stake, so that will be 2 stakes for the case. I don't know yet what else I'm going to do. I may make a box out of wood and simply put the stakes in there. I don't know yet. And then again, it may be something that I just throw together and leave bare and sell them that way. And again, if anyone's interested, you can find the links, the related information to contact me through the description. Sorry, I'm being a little bit scatterbrained this morning. But one thing I do want to talk about is people who are being hit with terms of service strikes retroactively on YouTube. Now, I realize I'm on YouTube and talking about YouTube's malfeasance, so this may cost me something. I doubt it. I only just hit 91 subscribers. I suspect I'm not even on their radar. At this point, I would think that the algorithm handles me more than anything else. So I will avoid certain words, but if you're holding people responsible for a crime you created years after what they did would have been considered a crime, that's wrong. It's unethical. It's clearly simply an attempt to remove people who you no longer agree with. And it's horrible business practice. And yeah, I'm not particularly adept at business any more than I'm particularly adept at economics. But I can see the simple. And simply put, and I do apologize if you guys can hear my neighbor's mower. But simply put, if you're punishing people for things that they couldn't have been punished for years before, that's just wrong. And if you're a company that supposedly bases yourself on content created by your user base, and you start deleting creators, then you're only damaging your own reputation. And like I said, I already had a Rumble account, and I had put some effort into it, but I've gone and gotten one set up under the Ardent Party. God's my own name. The Ardent Party banner. And what I'm going to do is get all of that content from the original Rumble account migrated over to the Ardent Party account, and I'm going to try to get set up so that anything I put on YouTube automatically goes to Rumble. If that doesn't work, I'll just directly upload it from here on out. Or at least I'll give myself a bit of a deadline and say beginning next week I'll start doing it that way. I also intend to start making some Rumble exclusives. I think this channel might slowly start to go nothing but woodwork and nothing but live streams. I started this channel for the Ask Ardent live stream, and I intend to keep the Ask Ardent live stream here. If you saw my stream yesterday, you know that I do like to white pill before I bring the mood back down. Started it yesterday with a very funny video, or at least a snippet of a very funny video. I really hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. I kind of doubt it. But I also then covered the without actually referencing it, covered the infighting in the LGBTQ camp. Well, I guess I did reference it kind of directly. And to be honest, it's a glorious thing to see when people are starting to stand up for the truth about things. And for me, the issue I have is that the LGB was its own category for a very long time. And then the T pushed its way in. And then, of course, you have the Q and the 2S and all that sort of thing. Now, the two-spirit thing, I don't really understand it. I'm not sure if it's simply gay with uh, a native twist or what, but uh, that strikes me as more of a cultural thing. The L, G, and B, of course, are sexualities. T is not a sexuality. T is, if they are to be believed, a medical condition. But we're also running into things that are far from being anything even related to sex. Neurodivergence. I've seen that added to pride parades in places, which is really wrong. But it's really heartening to see people focusing on objective truths. And I hope that this indicates a pushback against the modern, postmodern ideologies. My understanding of postmodernism is basically that, or at least my understanding of certain aspects of it, shows or says to me that postmodernism relies on subjective reality or subjective morality. Certain aspects of reality are simply objective. If you throw something up in the air, it's coming back down. If you punch a drunk man, he's probably going to punch you back. Morality. A lot of people would like to try and claim that morality is subjective. But there are objective aspects of morality that simply are. Murder is always wrong, for example. With abusing an animal or abusing a child, also objectively wrong. Yeah, so I mean, you can't get away from certain things being objective. If you try to say that everything is subjective, then all you're doing is denying reality. Don't really have much else to say about anything there today. I realize this is a short one, but what do you know? I stayed focused mostly. Anyway, the bit of shilling. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Please check out that stream. The link is posted. And to be fair, or at least to give you fair warning, the meat of that stream is myself, Kitty, and the Shademaster, Shades of Dominion, talking about the mechanics behind the Shades of Dominion game and whether or not they need tweaking. Yeah, so if you are interested in the YouTubing stuff that we talked about, that's very early on. Other than that, not much else to say today. So, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.